Good people of the world. My name is Anja Milosavljevic, and I'm going to be your host today. You are watching Mondopreneur podcast, and this project is supported by U.S. Embassy in Belgrade. And the idea behind this whole project is to share stories of other successful women in the world, and to see how their lives are transformed in this pandemic period. So I hope you are going to enjoy our conversation. My today's guest is Rafaela, and she comes from Albania. And she is a very successful lady with more than 20 years of experience. So enjoy. Hi, Rafaela, how are you?
Hi, Sanya. Thank you so much for this kind invitation. It's been some time since we met last time in Macedonia.
Skopje? In Macedonia, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I was really pleased to accept your invitation. I always try to do so whenever I see other successful women on the other side of the screen or of the table. But now, unfortunately, we are just sharing screens.
Well, that's... we all live in this Zoom era, like cogito ergo Zoom. So we are always speaking to other people over Zoom. And luckily for me, I feel that as an opportunity. So, okay, we cannot meet, we cannot speak in person, but still there is a way that we can communicate. So for me, it's fine. Can you tell us something about yourself? Like, I know I read your CV, we spoke earlier, but can you just tell us something about yourself? Like, what is your educational background and how is it connected to your present work?
Well, I'm Rafaela Rica. As you said, I come from Albania. I've been now in business since 1999. So exactly by coincidence, today is 21st birthdays of Iceberg Communication.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes, because now that I was speaking, I said, oh my God, it's 22nd of December 1999. So, wow. It's been quite some years now, two decades. Well, I have been graduated. My main bachelor degree is in English language. So after that, I have been studying a master in business administration in Switzerland. And now, actually, I am attending my PhD studies in Austria. And my thesis is for the factors that are influencing the women entrepreneurs. So which are the factors that the women are starting or not, or preventing women to start a business? So it's been almost 2 years now that I'm doing this research, and it's absolutely fantastic what I'm doing, because I'm also learning a lot about the entrepreneurship environment in Albania. And so I hope I can answer some of the questions in this regard. And not only, also in the Balkans, because previously I started the research for this in the whole Balkan region, but because the sample was very wide, then my professor, who is supervising my thesis, she was recommending me to narrow it to Albania, because then it was a huge work. But as you know, I'm having an influence also somehow in the different project in the region. So it hasn't been much about the studies as much as it is about the experience. And you know that, because we also met, and we that's how we got to know each other, and that's how I got to know a lot of marvelous, very great business women around the Balkans. And this is fantastic whenever we have a chance to meet with each other.
Yes, I agree. And I remember that masterclass in Skopje. It was very powerful, because not just because only ladies were sitting in the room, but their stories, their experience, their points of view, the way they run their businesses, the sectors that they run their businesses in. So it was a very important experience for me. So what are the factors that prevent ladies from starting their own businesses, and what are the factors that actually help them to thrive? Can you just give us the example from your...
I will give very short story about how I started, and maybe doing so I might explain more on how I think ladies and women should start. And personally, to be honest, I was 23 years old when I started the business, and I was just having 1 year of experience in one of the biggest newspapers in Albania, and that was actually a very good experience for me as the first and the last to work for somebody else, I have to say. And then I was loving that job. I was very successful. As soon as I entered, then in maybe 6 months, I was selling a lot of advertising space for the newspaper. So somehow I became the star of the newspaper because I was being paid on commissions. And as such, I was being paid more than anyone even more than the editor-in-chief. And he was a very well-known journalist in Albania, and he was calling me to his office, and he said, "Rafaela, but you're fantastic. I mean, how you managed to do all this work?" I said, "It's nothing. I just simply I didn't stop for a single day. I was every day knocking on doors, and I was not a shy type, so I could step on the door of all clients. And also, we're talking 21 years ago." Everybody was asking me, "But what is advertisement? Why do we need to advertise?" You know, and then I saw that it was fantastic and how much money you could make with that. Then I thought even doing business was that easy, but actually it was not. Because then I had this idea. I said, why should I do this just for one newspaper where I can do it for other medias? And we're talking about a time that there were not a lot of private medias back then in Albania. So it was a national television. And then after that, some few televisions started to open, and also some newspapers, but it was not that the media landscape was not as it is today. So I said, well, let me do this. And actually, I just had this lamp coming as an idea to do an advertising agency. And because we couldn't have internet back then, I was going to source foundation offices, and we could access there. So I was trying to Google and to check what is an advertising agency. It was helping me a lot, the fact that I could speak good English and that I could write. And then I remember that then I was deciding for the name, and I said, oh, it should be something that just, Iceberg was a very interesting name for me. It was like something that was showing strength, and it was sharp, and it was potent. And, at that time I thought it could sink a Titanic. So I thought Iceberg could be the name. And Iceberg Communication. And that's how I started, actually. It was just this crazy idea. And then I never even thought what I was doing. And I didn't know actually what was coming. But to be honest, this was maybe the good part of it, because if you really think too much, and if you are, I go, no go, then maybe I found the momentum. And in that moment in Albania, it was a huge demand for different kind of businesses, anything. So I was also then checking who else were in the market doing the same job. And they were 4 or 5. And I'm not sure if it is that I persevered, or if it is that I survived, or if it is that I was taking it serious because I was a woman. But out of these 4 or 5, just one company is still existing. All the rest closed, or they differentiated their business in another type of, so from marketing and communication agency, they were doing other things. So coming back to your question, I have to say that there are a lot of reasons that women are deciding to go in a business. First, it is for sure the need to be free, to do your own business, to give opportunity to other people. But then there are a lot of factors that are preventing some other women that are great, that are capable, that are brilliant, but because they think that they have a family, they have other roles in the society, then they are not taking the initiative, or they're saying that maybe another a job could be better and safer for them. Another reason is the mentality, at least when I started, that it was a kind of a utopic for a woman to go into business. And I remember when I told my father, he was like, what are you going to do? No, maybe you should find a job, you should get married, you should have kids. I said, yeah, but that doesn't prevent me to also start the business. So the mentality, I'm not sure how it is in Serbia. Maybe in Serbia is much better, because I think even from the communism times, I have to say that you were having many more advantages compared to us, because the communism we went through was severe. So we were totally closed from lack of traveling. We couldn't travel anywhere else, and no one could do their own business. So we were living in communism, but we were so close to the Europe, so we had no idea also what was happening out of, which you didn't have in this case, because I think Tito was more open somehow, but I'm not saying it was, it was still, but slightly better, not as severe as here. So for Albanians, it was, and I'm talking I started 9 years after the fall of communism, so it was not that long. Also, another reason is the lack of finances. And while I do mentorship, I always tell as much as I can that I say money is just a tool, is an instrument to send you from here to here, but it's not that important. If you have a great idea, you can do it, even without money. For sure, you'll need money on the way, and you find ways, doing business, you have to go in different, it's a roller coaster, I said.
It is a roller coaster, yes.
Yeah. So you just should start and be serious about it, and be consecutive on what you do, and have the responsibility, because it's not only you. You have other actors involved. You have a team that you are responsible for. And now in my team, I have people working for me for 19 years or 20 years. So that is a huge thing. That is something. It means that they are as more precious than the assets of the company. So they are an asset of the company, absolutely. And more than half of the team then is working for over 15 years. So it's so somehow they're spending their best part of their life in your company. So it means that the responsibility is for them and their whole families. They are keeping. And then you have to...
Sorry to interrupt you, but I would be very proud, extremely proud, if I can say that I have a person working as a part of my team for 19 or 20 years. Are you a proud lady? I would be extremely proud.
I am very, very proud, and sometimes I feel guilty for not being able to give appreciation enough to them, not only to one person, but to all my team. because to be honest, it's just all is just because of them. So this is absolutely fantastic, and it is a value. It's a value that values more than money, I have to say. So
as you said, money is just a tool. It's not. It just
so
helps
yes.
you. So how
And
you
then
manage?
other things, but these are like the most important. Like taking initiative is, some people are brave and they do it. And I'm also always telling to younger generation or to other women entrepreneurs when they start, I'm just saying, just don't think it twice. But I'm not saying that you should not be careful on what you choose to do, but I'm just telling them, do it. Don't stay there 1 year or 2 years, because I have also some mentees that are there since 2 years and they're not yet starting the business. I'm saying, but what are you waiting for? Now, for 2 years, you could have had a business 2 years old. So this is actually what I'm trying to tell them. Yeah, then for sure now it's different in Albania, because there is a total different environment. The ecosystem is now is created here. You have the government who is supporting startups or new businesses with, or at least facilitating with taxes and infrastructure. And this is a big support. And then we have international organizations supporting a lot with different programs. The embassies are doing a great job. We have support from other countries like Switzerland that has a significant role here in Albania with different projects on entrepreneurship. And we have a Swedish embassy, American embassy, with different projects of USAID, UN for Women. So it's a completely different environment. So now the puzzle of the ecosystem is almost like the figure is clear now, because there is also media that is talking a lot about it. There are also universities that have started to do a lot of, to take positive steps in this regards, like putting entrepreneurship as a subject in the universities. They're doing different projects, internships, and different activities as well, so coming from the universities. And there are mentors now and coaches that are mentoring and coaching young and new business entrepreneurs. So it's completely different now. The opportunities are huge, I mean, higher. And it's just that what is lacking, and what we are trying to do a lot, is just to bring as much as possible, as the same as I think what you're trying to do, is bringing as much as possible role models. Because what we need to do now is to shift the mindset, actually, because the mindset is and the mindset is yet in Albania, that it's good to have a job because there you're safer. You're getting a salary at the end of the month, and you're safer, so you're not putting the family or yourself in trouble. So it's just going for the for the easy
way. Yeah, I know. Way. I mean, when you're
meanwhile having a coffee.
Well, I had my coffee. Now I'm drinking only water. But when you run your own business, you actually are responsible for everyone, not just for the business, but for the cash flow, for your team members, for getting new jobs. So the responsibility is bigger, but the stakes are also bigger. So, and as you said at the beginning, you are actually not buying but gaining freedom when you run your own business. So I agree with you. And regarding the things that you said, it is maybe a bit different in Serbia, but still we don't have that entrepreneur mindset. We are doing a lot, as you said. There are activities, there are projects. We are trying to develop the startup ecosystems, but it's still a great work ahead of us.
Yes.
So yeah. Let me just ask you one question, and it is connected to your previous answer. How do you manage or micromanage your team? Or what style of team leader do you practice?
Well, now after all these years, I have gained my complete independence. When I say so, I have 100% delegated the work to my team. Even recently, I have a CEO for the company. And now myself, I'm just the founder, and I'm just also responsible for the registration of the business, tax offices and all this. And my figure in the company is just for PR. Mm-hmm. So I come here, I'm here once a week, and I just see what's going on. And for sure, I'm doing PR then to clients everywhere I go. But it's not that on daily basis I have completely got out of the business, and it's so important that when you start a business, you should know that business is also your lifestyle. So it means that you cannot work 12 hours as I did in the beginning, and as everyone who starts a business is doing. And you cannot do everything yourself. You have to hire people, to train people, to trust people, because it's more about trust rather than anything else. So it took me some time because I'm 100% sure that we all have this mania that nobody is doing it properly, but this is so wrong. It is so wrong that now, for example, I'm in many cases, because people don't know the process of work or who is doing what, and sometimes they ask me to do something, and I said, but I'll ask the persons responsible, because I have no clue about this, or let's say about the Christmas decoration, because they're always saying, wow, you did such a beautiful decoration for the city. And I said, yes, but I have no clue how they do it, because it's a whole team doing it. So to be honest, now I'm so lucky to have everyone who is in charge and responsible, and they're even absolutely in different fields, competent and much better than me. So, but you should trust them, even if one time they're doing it wrong, 2 times they're doing it wrong, till they learn they will do it right. But it's also very good, because when you give the freedom to the employees, they're feeling much better. And I'm not the kind of leader to give pressure, and this was me from the beginning. So I wanted everyone to feel good at work, not to feel pressured. I'm not saying that we should not control or have the mechanisms to see, but to be honest, I think it's more about how to, first of all, think how the employees are feeling, and for sure how we can deliver properly to the clients, because the clients are the most important part. But then it's not so I always thought that, to me, team is more important than the client, because if the team is feeling good, and if the team is, and I'm taking care many times to train the team now and then, to make them travel to see what's going on, so that they're not only seeing the market in Albania and so on. So in that, I'm investing on the team, and that's very important also, because in our industry, as you know, in communication, marketing, event industry, in decoration that we're also doing, and the trends are changing very rapidly, and we need to adapt to new technologies also. Now also coming to the situation now that we were not prepared, but you should get out of the comfort zone sometime to strive, as you said, to see and to shift the business in a different business model. And
so did you have to change? Sorry. Did you have to change your business or your business model in past 9 months, like since the beginning of pandemic? How
this year was a year, yeah, that taught us in all regards, not only in business, but even also in life, what we should, first of all, what we should prize and how important are certain things that we took for granted. And second, it taught us that we should be prepared, because you never know what's coming, and you should always have a plan B. And for our industry, it was almost 7 to 8 months, zero turnover. So for 3 months we were not working, and then we started to work from home, and then partially we came to the office. But despite that, we were not invoicing to any clients for 7 to 8 months. And then I had also the responsibility to keep the team, because, you know, people that been working for you, as I said, for so long, you cannot just in the first crisis send them home, because they have families, and that, to me, it was really the most challenged time in these 21 years, because, as I said, I was not foreseeing it. And as if you may recall, last year at the end of the year, which is also our best period actually of the year, because we are having a lot of business with decoration events. So last 3 months of the year are somehow the most important months for our job. And we had an earthquake last year, and in the end of November, that was the first hit. And then it was the pandemic coming on March. And then it was, you know how it rolled throughout the year. And that's a chain, actually, because of lack of work, then because we're working also with other countries, that we are getting the raw materials from China. China was completely locked down, so we had to wait till they opened to order goods. So it was that was really a challenge. And then we had goods arriving, but then the paperwork were ending up to Bulgaria instead of coming to Albania. So it was, I think this situation really was very hard, but it grew us in different regards. But it grew us as humans, because this was the moment we had to show ourselves that business is here. We kept it. Together we gained forces. So we kind of encouraged each other, I have to say, even in moments that we were saying, like, what we should do now? We were gathering every beginning of the month and saying, what are we going to do now? Can we keep another month and not send anybody home and not size down the business? And we did it, actually. And we have now another 25 people coming in for the last 2 months. Because as I said, we were doing everything in these 2 months. And we started then to invoice 2-3 weeks ago. It was like, oh my God, we were looking forward to back to the normal. But also I was, while going through this craziness, I was always thinking, why did this happen? So somehow lessons learned are that you should always have a plan B. We now learn that it's so important, and this is so, I cannot say funny, but somehow it is funny, because I'm mentoring startups and I'm telling every one who is coming with an idea, and I'm saying, you should think of something that is related to technology, to digitalization. You should shift the business model to that. And I was not doing it for myself. I was going through the old ways of doing events, live events, decorations only with and then we said, how we can do it like more interactive, how we can sell online. So we built a platform. We had built it actually 3 years ago. We were not using it much. and it was like word for word translation is that Christmas tree dot Albania, AL, and it is for selling Christmas trees online. So we deliver Christmas trees to the door of the client with the decoration, with the lights, everything. And this year we said, wow, we have this. Why we are not using it? So let's do some advertisement. Let's do some boosting on social media. And it was working perfectly. A lot of clients were, because of also lack of time now, partially locked down. So it was working. So you see, we said, well, we thought of that. We didn't use it. Now it was the moment. And also now I'm, as I said, I went out of Iceberg because now Iceberg it can stay. It's 21 years old, so it can continue itself. And I'm now building a different company. It's called Tech01, and that is going to be a digital marketing agency. And we are actually planning also to train young people, but mostly women, because I have a soft feeling because we need a lot of more women into technology and in these new professions that are now coming. I'm always telling to wherever I can to audiences that you should see and turn the eyes and the ears to the new professions. So, because everyone wants to become a business administrator, everyone wants to become a lawyer, everyone wants to become an engineer, but no one is thinking that now you have a lot of professions that are coming, and who would have thought like 20 years ago or 30 years ago that the whole world could go through Zoom. So everything should go through digitalization. And last year I was in a panel, and I was also in a panel with Miro from Belgrade. He's managing a PR and marketing company, 2M Communication, and now we are also cooperating for a project in Albania, and also with some other representatives from the event industry. And I didn't know, but it was a year ago, and I said, and I was having a question asked, what is going to be the future of events? And I said, but I didn't know actually. It was just that I was always thinking that this was going to happen. I said, the future events will be viral and virtual. And then one day, my social media expert was bringing this out, and she said, you said this when there was no pandemics, and it was like in December I said, yes, I had the feeling, because I always think, at least I have an intuition, because I think that's what makes a difference in business people. Intuition. The intuition, the gut feeling, the intuition is always leading you somewhere. And I thought...
Sorry to interrupt you, but do you think that intuition is a skill that is, or I don't want to say skill, but something that is typical for women, or is it actually typical for entrepreneurs and business people? That gut feeling.
I think it hasn't got a gender. The gut feeling. I mean, we as women are more sensitive, and we are more sensitive, and we are more keen on details. We listen to our inner voices. Maybe men, they feel it, but they don't stay there and listen carefully, or they give it. As you know, men are more on macro-managing rather than... I cannot generalize it because there are...
Of course.
Yeah, but in general, I'm saying as a type, we're there to be more, how to say, empathetic, more... how to say it, like more, we're having all our inner side is somehow reflecting our decisions, and I should say that this is very important when you're managing businesses. And that's why I say maybe also from statistics, women are not gaining as much money in business as men, because our primary objective is not just to make money. We need to make other people feel good. We think of other people's problems, or we are always there taking care somehow of, and this is more about women, I should say, than men. But as I said, this is not a generalization, because there are also very sensitive men that might also feel the same. But as I said, in business, we are not just, let's make money, and that's how I can explain, because in all the researches I did, men that were doing the same big business, identical the same business, they're gaining more money than women. So because now I think it's not that women are not capable, it's that women are not just aiming just for money. And another thing that I am always bringing it up and loud is that men do create alliances, networks, clubs, gentlemen clubs, and they're doing business with each other. Whereas women, somehow, it's not good to say, but sometimes they're feeling jealousy among them. No, I'm not saying about everyone, but there is a kind of jealousy sometimes in women doing business, and they're not as much connected, exchanging business with each other, creating these alliances, as I said. And this is something we should definitely do. So I agree. Personally, whenever I can give some business to a woman, I go and I find who is that woman. So if I have to choose, for sure and I'm not saying that I would not choose quality, but I'm saying that if I have two similar businesses to do business with, and one is being managed by a woman and one by a man, I would rather prefer to go and do that service or that outsourcing to a business that is managed by a woman. Just for this fact that we should give each other more support and empower each other, because I'm sure that if we do it bit by bit, because this is not a problem only in our countries, it's a worldwide problem. And wherever we can, we should also raise our voices when you're doing the same job in the same company. Let's say you have two IT, a woman IT and a man. A man is always paid more than the woman. This is not right. This is not right.
Well, it's the same here. It's the same here in Serbia. I know.
I think it's the same everywhere in the world.
Interesting. That's interesting. I agree with you, because I don't know if we are shy or we are jealous at each other, or we don't actually think in terms of business. But I agree, men easily make alliances. They easily network. Wherever they go, maybe they play football with their friends in the evening, or they go to a coffee to have a coffee or a drink with a friend. They easily make those alliances. Women, we just take more time. It just really takes more time to make those connections and to empower each other and support each other.
But we should also agree that there has been a tremendous advancement and a very good step on the positive side, I have to say, being it for more women in business. And I'm so happy when I go and I'm in some jury and I see more women than men. I'm flattering, not because to me it's the same. We need more younger generation, more independent people, more entrepreneurs, being that a man. But when there are more female, it means that it's a very positive step in the whole society, because I mean, more independent women means an equal society, means independence in the economical side. It brings freedom to women, and we don't have what we see in most of the cases, this gender inequality. So it's great that at least in Albania I've seen it a lot, but I'm sure also in the region, in the Balkans, I see that also in Kosovo. I saw that in when we've been in Macedonia. I was in Serbia, and I met Ivana, and we were discussing, and she was explaining me a bit about the situation. She said that there are many more women now coming in from doing their own businesses, quitting a job and then starting a business. So this is great.
Small steps,
yes.
Small great steps.
Yes.
Do you? Well, it just crossed my mind. In Serbia, the women can get the loans from the banks, but it's maybe harder because most of the time they don't have any kind of they cannot give what's the word deposit or something like that. They don't have
collateral. Yes, they need a collateral.
Yes,
so, mortgage.
Yes. What's the situation in Albania?
It is more or less the same, and it's a big problem also here because the access to finance is one of the biggest problems, I have to say, and I'm sure that it should be a higher effort from the government to the bank institutions, and also mostly to the Bank of the States, that they should at least for this small loans, let's say, because a startup is not asking for a lot of money. They should not, first of all, they should not be shark loans, because most of the cases there are shark loans, and this is completely unacceptable, that they're giving you some money and then they're getting from you double of it. Second, they should support businesses not to ask for a collateral, because I went through that, and I always tell this story that it was so embarrassing for my parents when I was asking them to put their house for 3 years. My father and my mother, I'm sure they were not sleeping calm because they thought I was going to go maybe in bankruptcy. And imagine every family, and you know how important it is for them to buy a house, to have the only thing in their whole life is that house, and then they might risk it from the adventures of the kid. But in this case, it's such a pity that for 5K, 10K, 20K, they're putting them in such big troubles that it's so crazy that they're not facilitating or at least making this possible without making them. And in most of the cases, it doesn't happen because not everybody has a collateral at that age. And not everybody maybe has a family that can support with their house or with their property. So this is one of the biggest things that should change. And I'm not sure if this will happen from the bank sector unless the government puts some pressure on the bank sector. There are some programs that are also supporting financially some startups. But to be honest, in the beginning, I was not quite much agreeing with those because, you know, when you're starting a business, you need to rush to do many other things. You need to try to find clients, to set up the business, to learn the whole process of work. And when you see these entrepreneurs going after these projects just for getting 3,000 euros or 5,000 euros and spending 6 months after that. And I was always saying that maybe we're killing the vibe of the entrepreneurs because they're waiting for that money and they're losing the focus to make other money. And I had many cases that I was telling them, how much time did you spend on doing this? If you could have spent that time in trying to find clients, you could have made double or triple that money. So this is what, so I'm not, personally, I am not fancying much the fact that they should give money for free to entrepreneurs. But rather than helping them to get a loan so that they feel also responsible for paying it back, and not losing much time around these funds and not doing the job. Then you lose the picture, and then because then you get tired of this. Maybe in most of the cases you don't even get that fund, so you have lost time, you got deluded from what happened, and then so I think if the focus is success and they should focus, and for sure then also finding financial means is very important. But if you could do that just by taking a loan with low percentage and with no collateral, that could be the solution, I think.
That's, I know, because while you're chasing those funds, you are actually, as you said, losing time of finding new clients or finding ways to earn money to sustain your company. I know. Well, it's similar here. So we came to the end of our conversation. And I usually like to ask my guests to send a message to the world. So what would you say to the world, or to the future ladies in business?
First of all, I would say that if they asked me if I could go again back and do what I did, I said yes, and yes, always. I would go for doing my own business. It's the satisfaction is huge. It's much more than anything else compared to all the worries and all what you go through. The freedom and satisfaction is huge. And as I said, it hasn't got nothing to do with how much money you make. It has to do with, like, you find the higher purpose of life by helping also other people, by becoming a model, by showing the world that you can, by being financially independent, by changing the world, your small world. But if we all do that, it means that the world will be better world. And I would also say to them, so start a business, stay always, think a step forward, and stay always, because we are living in think agile, because we are living in a rapid change world. Technologies are taking over, they took over, and everything is changing rapidly and fast. So go with that, see always what's coming, see what would be the profession or the business that might serve you after 10 years. And this is like, and you know the word now that we should say is that adapt and change. This is adapt and change daily. And it hasn't got to do only with the business, but with yourself first. And that is, and also the last and the most important one is the stay safe, because the most important part of our life is to be safe. And that also in this situation understood that we lost friends and people we knew very young, and we see that we are living in a very uncertain world, that nothing has a sense unless you have a good health. So I'm always also trying to inspire people of living healthy lifestyle, keep the immune system high, work more with energies, with spirituality, meditation, yoga, because at the end, all the materialistic things go, in one day you lose the business, you see how it went. And all what is left, the house that we have to live till the end of our life, is ourselves. So that is very important to take care of it in all regards. And I mean it, because even when we have a meal, we never see it as just think of what you're eating and how that can impact your digestion system. And the same with the thoughts. Just think of what thoughts are you having in your mind, because if you have got negative thoughts, these negative thoughts will drag you down and down, and then it becomes like a snowball. So just feel positive. I'm a lot following, listening to all these spiritual leaders, because for a reason, all the most famous and most successful people in the world, at the end, after they have become successful, they are trying to find and to get to know themselves better. So that leave always that window open to get to know yourself better. And then if you believe in God or in universe, you'll see that there will be always a manifestation there. And this has helped me a lot in my life. It has changed my life. Since I started to shift, as I said, getting negative people out of my life, focusing on positivity, not being there, money, work. Okay, it's there. We should be responsible, but it's not only that. And then enjoying life, traveling as much as possible, smiling as much as possible. We need this positivity. And then, as I said, going through this spiritual journey for me is a life-changing experience. And that is something that I strongly encourage everybody to do, because it really, then in the core, we see that, what we are left with nothing when we, from this world, what we will be left will be just what we did, how many lives we impacted, how well we lived our own life. Then the rest, none of us is taking any suitcase on the other world. We go. So yeah, health is very important, and both mentally, physically, and everything. So as we are now, because we are now close to Christmas, so we need to become more.
I know. Thank you, Rafaela. Thank you. I really appreciate the time you dedicated to this interview. Thank you for everything you said. Thank you for all the advices you share, especially because you have a really wide experience. So it's not something that you just maybe read in the book. It's something that you have in your own experience. So thank you. Really, I really enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure for me as well. And I wish you a Merry Christmas and a much better year, 2021.
Well, 2021 has to be better than this one. I mean, it cannot be worse than this one. So it's going to be better anyway. And Merry Christmas to you too.
Thank you very much.
Dear people, you were listening to Rafaela Rica. She comes from Albania. And I really hope you enjoyed as much as I enjoyed this conversation. You can always follow us on social media like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. And as Rafaela said, stay safe, stay good, and stay in good health. And see you in a week.